Hello everyone, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Last time we managed to send a mission that went first to the moon to complete one mission and then over to orbit Minmus. Slight issue is I misunderstood some of the life support systems and so the crew are on strike, which means we have to kind of go and fetch them. So right now the crew of the Weasel are in a very elliptical orbit here, heading out to around Minmus's orbit and then dropping back down again. They have plenty of fuel, they just don't have any way to control them, so we're gonna need to rescue them. We already were planning some kind of mission to do something similar because the Weasel was designed without any re-entry capsule, so we do need to give it the re-entry capsule. Until we bring it back, we don't really have any new science to play with, but we do have plenty of money. Now I'm just going to check through the missions. I definitely want to pick this one up, bring green sandstone back with us. We're going to go to Minmus at some point. That will just give us a bonus little objective there. Seems the only particularly relevant one, so let's go about designing our rescue vehicle here. So it's going to be a largely automated rescue vessel, just so I can cut down on the size. We're rescuing 3 Kerbals, so I'm going to base this on the pomegranate re-entry module. Otherwise I am going to start designing this. I want a delta V of around about 5,000, should be enough to get us the intercept, dock and then get back. We'll be putting RCS on it so that we can do a proper docking, but I will be doing all that in a time lapse and I'll catch you afterwards. See you then. Okay, so here we have it, the Dazzort, the dangerously aerodynamic zany zoomy orbital rescue launcher. It's got a lot of stuff on it, but it's not really too complicated. These are mostly RCS thrusters to make it easier to do the docking. Got the docking port on top. Got plenty of batteries around it, some RCS fuel. Otherwise we're just powered by a Poodle on the space stage. On the orbiting stage we've got the skipper. Then we go down to a main cell on the bottom stage. Should have reasonable performance all in all. Let's just see if we can launch this thing, leaving out any crew, no crew needed. Let's just try and get this thing into an orbit. Okay, right, and thrust to full. Let's kick it. Okay, it's a fair bit slower than I would have liked, but it's getting that. Yeah, aerodynamically it's struggling a fair bit. Okay, first stage flame out, detach, ignite. And stage actually has slightly better thruster weight. Okay, not quite an orbit on that stage, just 5 kilometers short. But we can just light up the final stage. There we go, in orbit. And so can now deploy the solar panels and the communicatron. We're now all good. Okay, what I'm going to do for now is boost us into a bit of a higher orbit, not quite as high as this one, since we're really out of phase right now. I'll just burn a bit and make it a little bit easier for the rendezvous, a little bit easier for us to match our delta V when this thing comes back around. Okay, unfortunately just getting a moon encounter. I don't really want a moon encounter. It's going to slow down until that goes away. Alright. Okay, just going to do a plane change maneuver. Okay, orbital planes are now nicely aligned. Now I just need to line this up so that we actually encounter properly. Okay, I've plugged in a rendezvous here. Should get us really quite close. Let's see how well we can execute the burn. We have to wait 5 days to the right time. Okay, we've managed to pull that off within 16 kilometers. That's fine, we can correct more when we get there, so let's nip over there. Okay, refined that to 6.9 kilometers. Okay, rapidly approaching the other vessel. Slowing our relative speed down to 10 meters per second. Okay, bleed off our speed there. Okay, so I could just get the people to jump out, but I may as well try and do the docking while we're here. Let's try and gently drift these together. A little bit of a bounce, and then reconnect. There we go. We have now docked. Which means we're back in control of the other vessel. Now I'm actually going to use this stage to slow us down into an orbit around Kerbin and then detach this stage. But before I forget, I'm going to put my various Kerbals into the correct section. There we go, all crew moved across. Right, just transmitted the data since I realised all of the science data's in here. I don't actually have a science gathering module here. I've just been using the science thingy here, and I don't know how to tweak this around to move the data, so I think we're going to have to come back at some later stage, dock with this, and grab that science. Then again, I do have 55 data stored on the new thing, so I don't know. For now though, I've plugged in our braking maneuver. We can just time warp there, and we just do our best to brake. The various delta V calculators are all very confused, but we should have plenty of delta V to do this braking maneuver, come down, put us into a nice circular orbit, and then go from there. Okay, put it into a circular-ish orbit. This will do for now. Do have enough fuel to deorbit us on the other stage. All the Kerbins are across, so it is just time for us to decouple or undock. For some reason my RCS controls are not responding. Odd, they were working just now, now they decided not to. Fine. Helps if I turn the engine back on. There we go, now we can just nicely circularize and come down somewhere over KSP. Okay, then I'm going to decouple that stage. There we go. Alright, then I can retract the antenna. Point a surface retrograde and re-entry time. Okay, getting heating effects. I'm a bit worried about the RCS thrusters burning off, but the parachute should be safe, and that's the important bit. There we go, nice and slow, just drifting back down. We have really weird aerodynamics because of the asymmetric shape. It looks like they're going to come just down next to this nice little desert island here. Nice. Parachute deployed, no problem. 6.6 meters a second terminal velocity. There we go. After a bit of bobbing up and down, we've landed. There we go, so we did manage to recover quite a lot of the science. I think there's still some more that we didn't bring back, but this is still a nice big chunk. All of those crew are now level 2, having been around Minmus. So we got our most expensive stage recovered. That counted as the first station around Kerbal, first docking manoeuvre around Kerbal, and the first scientific data from Minmus. The other stage got rather soundly destroyed, but still, I'd say that's a pretty decent success. Unfortunately, that did not count as returning to Kerbal from orbit of Minmus, I think because they went out of time during all that. Okay, so next time we're going to have to do a few other things then. But that is enough for now. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please consider leaving a like and or subscribe. Really does help the channel. And otherwise, I hope to catch you in the next video. Until then, remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.